It's the 26th of I was going to say February, 26th of March 2025. Yep, again, middle of the night. Don't sleep, can't sleep, so I'll sit and chat. I've been wanting to chat since early this morning, to be honest, but I've just had quite a few things on for the day, which is always a good thing for me. If I'm active, if I'm busy, it just seems to keep my mind preoccupied, which is a really good thing. Went out to feed Donnie today, and he was up around the corner in the paddock, so there's a few games there to try and get him back over. Anyway, it's been generally a very good day. And it's not very often I can get to say that, so yeah, whatever I've done it just for a few days. These last few days too, I've been able to speak to a few of my support people, which is always really good. And a bit of a theme seems to sort of keep approaching. One of the people that I was speaking with, we were talking about I was talking about how I feel or have been feeling since Mum passed. And I feel like I don't know where I'm at, where I land, where I fit, basically, that's a better term. I don't know where I fit. And I ended up sharing with my support person that just about, I'm sorry for the juggernauting here, but it gets a little bit hard to explain because it's really quite emotional for me. But as I'm realising that as I was growing up, a lot of the behaviours that myself and my siblings do now, they all started when we were kids. And my mum had so many opportunities that she could have pulled that behaviour up. But she didn't. My eldest sister, I love her dearly, she was sort of brought to my attention several times before it actually sunk in my brain, of how Mum, towards the end of her life, how she was manipulating each of us and playing each of us off with each other. And I believed it, thanked her for telling me, but then I had to sit back and really watch. When I was younger and I would be upset, i.e. I would be having a panic attack but didn't know what it was, I would be just legitimately upset and not understand why. I'd have a reaction of some sort to, it could be loud music or something like that, and I could never understand why I'd have to go, why I'd have to leave whatever it was that was happening. I suppose, in a nutshell, sort of my family were here and I was over there. That's how it always felt for me. I always felt that I was different to everyone else. Mum did tell me that I was the one they didn't want. I don't think she meant it awfully, but she did say that pregnancy-wise I was the one that she didn't want. And was a little bit hard to take, I must admit. But anyway, back to what I was sharing. When I was sharing these things with my support person, as I was growing, depending on what my mood was at that time, if I needed to take myself away from my family because I was crying or I was upset, I was offended, it was always, oh, you're sooking, you're a whinger, you're a whiner, you're just sooking, you're always bloody sooking. So I kind of emotionally, mentally pushed myself away from the family. And it's something that my family have kept doing. My mum never pulled it up, never. I know I shared a little bit about it the last time I was speaking. Two of my kids, when they were little, they just had one small incident, and I dealt with that right there at that time, and nothing ever came of it. Nothing, it just stopped. That was it. My support person said to me today that, she said, Tony, that was about 10, 20, 30 years ago, maybe 40. She said it was a long time ago. You're probably not even remembering it properly. She said you were a kid then, you wouldn't even remember it properly. And she said if you were to ask your siblings, they would probably remember it differently as well. So, why do I have to keep on focusing on it? Because the more I focus on it, the more it's going to get, or the bigger it's going to get in my head. Well, I got offended at that, especially the part of the 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 years that you're not going to remember it all as it was, because I was a child. I was speaking to someone else earlier this week too, and this person said something very similar. I won't go into the actual dialogue of it, but needless to say, she said something that was very similar. And I felt the same too. Firstly, I felt offended, and then it gets said to me again. So secondly, I'm offended. And I wasn't offended in the sense of being angry and wanting to, say something nasty back. It's not like that for me today. But it can be, but not today. Part of me wanted to say to her, so are you telling me that as a young girl being sexually abused, and quite violently as well, that what I'm saying isn't true, that I'm remembering it incorrectly, that it didn't happen? And I just felt like saying to her, and maybe I should have, maybe I will the next time we're speaking, the very first time I was sexually abused, as I said, it was very violent. I was 4, a little girl at 4. Well, I can remember word verbatim what happened. Word verbatim. And I don't know if there is a line of action verbatim, but every action that was done and every word that was said. And I said to her that, as I said to both of the ladies actually, at alternate times, that I truly believe that if something keeps coming up, if something keeps coming to mind for me, and it's almost as though I'm feeling that childlike state. I often talk about being on a timeline, just sort of sliding up and down on a timeline. And for me to share that, that's more talking about what age I'm feeling at that time. I could be feeling like a 12-year-old, I could be feeling like, a 9-year-old, 8-year-old. And some of my behaviours and some of my phrasing will go along with that age. And sometimes I can be in it and not even realise that I'm in it. I've sort of got to sit back and, well, not just physically sit back, but I've sort of got to take a few moments for myself to see if that's what's actually happening for me. When I was younger, I probably seem like I'm jumping stories here, but I'm not. It all sort of, it all meets together. You'll see why. Years ago, I started going to a meeting called Adult Children of Alcoholics. And for me, it was the best decision I'd ever made to go to these meetings, because I got to talk about the shit that went on growing up. I can hear my dogs barking. I might have to pause in a minute. I could hear my... I'll turn to the dogs and I'll come back. Hang on.